we do have a bit of interest from our viewers yesterday on Twitter regarding the business of insurance on the African continent. That came on the day, that was yesterday, when the 44th annual insurance conference was opened at Sun City in South Africa. And of course, the Alianz CEO also had a few words to say regarding, that's Oliver Bate, says that the insurance or the financial services company that has asset management, it does insurance, and a few others, in Switzerland with headquarters, says they are expanding their footprint across Africa. But of course, that was part of what the Alianz regional team said in February at the 2007 edition of the Africa CEO Forum in Geneva, Switzerland. The team held a very small press conference at the Geneva, Switzerland event, and they spoke about the vision, the strategy for Africa. That team was led by Delphine Medu. She's the Chief Operating Officer, Regional CEO for Alianz. She unveiled why this multi-billion-dollar financial services company is expanding its Pan-African footprints even into Nigeria. And her colleagues also spoke, two of them, Konrad Wroclik, who is the regional CEO, as well as Andreas Berger, who is in charge of regional marketing, also weigh in on key issues, micro-insurance, and why that is important for telecommunications or mobile telephony in Nigeria, and why the continent's economic growth is set on a trajectory that supports insurance expansion. Let's take a listen to Medu, to Konrad, as well as Andreas Berger. Take a listen.
Globally, we are one of the largest insurance company in the world, turnover 122 billion euros, operating profit of 10.8 billion euros. We focus on three main segments. So it's P&C, property and casualty insurance, it's asset management, and it's life and health. We've been in business for 27 years. In Africa, we've been present on the African continent for over 100 years now. In 16 countries, 1,500 employees, 600 million euros in revenue. No other international insurance company has offices in so many African countries. So then that also reaffirms our investments on the continent. In the past few years, we've accelerated our plans in Kenya, in Ghana, and also recently acquired Zurich business operation in Morocco. So, and one of the reasons why we always come to the Africa CEO Forum, some of the challenges that Africa faces is low insurance penetration. We are consistent with the rest of the emerging markets at 3%, but if you take South Africa, with 80% roughly of the insurance market in Africa at 14% insurance penetration. If you take South Africa out of it, the insurance penetration in Africa is hovering around 1%. As far as our strategic alignment in Africa, we believe in growing the insurance industry here in Africa. And the African Development Bank, who's hosting this conference, has 5 priorities for the continent that we're quite aligned with. One is light up and power up Africa, feed Africa, industrialize Africa, and integrate Africa. And the last one is improve the quality of life of the African people. So as we look at the fast-growing population, urbanization, the more people are also educated, the better they understand risks and are also willing to purchase insurance. So that's where we come into the picture. So we invested in the long run. As we said, we've acquired Zurich in Morocco, and then after that, we created a regional hub in Casablanca to focus on building our operations across the African continent. And Konrad Wroclik, who is the CEO of the region, will share a bit more on that in a minute.
Our ambition really is to position Alianz as one of the leading, if not the leading, insurance companies across Africa over a reasonable period of time. We're in this for the long haul. You know, we're a 125-year-old company. We've been in Africa for 105 years. So this is not a my background is private equity. This is not a 3-year flip. This is a permanent commitment to the continent and to growing the business in the continent and helping grow the economies as a result. You get two sources of growth. One source of growth is the growth rate of the economy. Pick your number, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7%. You saw some of the numbers presented in the plenary today. With sort of that range across Africa. Okay, Nigeria last year was minus a bit, up to plus 7 or 8, I think, for Kenya. And then you have that increasing penetration, so going from 1% of GDP to 7% over the next year. It's difficult to say exactly what that period will be, 10 years, 25 years, 50 years. It depends a bit on the countries. And we have looked heavily. Can you influence the rate of that growth? Some of it is driven by regulations, mandatory insurance covers. Some of it's driven by a private healthcare system, so requiring private health insurance. Some of it's purely cultural.
Please, West Central Africa, but also Madagascar. So I don't know if you want the list of all the countries, but I can give it to you. Mali, Burkina, Senegal, Ivory Coast, Ghana, Togo, Benin, Cameroon, Central Republic of Africa, Congo, Brazzaville, Madagascar, and Kenya. So, as previously said, we opened new subsidiaries in Ghana in 2011, in 2012 in Congo, Brazzaville, and in 2015 in Kenya. And our mission is, well, to bring the best of the group. To leverage our proximity to local markets. And so we do deliver insurance solution for large corporation, African corporation, international corporation. So we're working a lot with AGCNS to implement the local policies of international program, for instance. But we also do a lot of microinsurance products in all of our countries. So we provide solutions from the large corporation to the microinsurance solutions.
Microinsurance and overlap with telco companies. And we have several dozen pilots and initiatives around Africa where we partner with different either telco companies or other partners to try to get these microinsurance products that are typically between 30 euro cents and €1 per month type of covers, but that take a big risk burden off retail consumers. One of my favorite things to do when I'm in the markets is to follow these microinsurance agents, and they typically sell these products in 3, 4, 5 minutes, and then I go up to the person who's bought that product. I always ask, why did you buy that? Why did you buy that? And they always answer with because it worries me.